Brr. It's a frustrating time of the year in the mountains when it's slowly transitioning to spring bits at a time, and you get that warm, snotty, greasy, rainy weather, which starts to make all the snow rotten and cold and wet, and there's not much you can do in it. Especially for me, what I like to do around here, I either need to cross down the snow so I can hike up in those mountains, or I need a bare trail. And where I want to go, I can't get there with a quad or a snowmobile. So, or even, I can't get these guys there either. So, but next week I'm going to possibly go do my steelhead tour again. And then, but this time it'll be about the fishing. Last time I was just farting around and trying to figure out how to film underwater and film stuff. A lot of people were, I got a couple of ribs from some friends saying I suck at fishing. But if you look closely, I'm actually, all the filming you see is just me filming, not really fishing. So I'm going to go, the fish should hopefully be a little better. Now I'm going to go back out and do a big tour in the middle of nowhere. And this time really concentrate on catch some fish. And then as well keep gearing up for the big move. We're moving out of town. It'll be a big move for these guys. These two. But anyway, I guess at least I can. One thing about horses is, for me, you can't go wrong hanging out with them. It doesn't matter what's going down. If I can't go hiking around, I will hanging out with the horses. I can hang out with these guys all the time. It's easy. It's like when I was guiding up in the mountains too. You know, at the end of the day, you got whatever, how many horses you have around camp, and I'd always get back to camp. Everybody eats and everybody goes off to do what they do, and I just go straight out, find the herd, and just hang out with them. It's good soul food. Hey, my boy. That noise you hear down, they're gonna steal grate on top of their hay, so they gotta work for it. Don't just eat it and push it out. So let's see what we got going on here today. We'll keep this train going. I see Texas and Mississippi are opening up. I'll tell you what, if that has the effect that I think it's going to have, God bless Texas and Mississippi for breaking free and doing what may possibly be the right thing. And nobody's going to know until they do it, right? And if they do it, and the results are exactly the same, health-wise, to what's been going down lately, then they are going to be superheroes of the planet, aren't they? Maybe go the other way, who knows? We're going to find out though, aren't we? Alright, what do we got here? I'm an 18-year-old in Central Arkansas. I had my first encounter with these beings last week. My friend who watches your channel on YouTube to reach out and tell the story, since I have been worried about telling people this story. He's had a previous experience with them before this was my first. Me and him have a coyote extermination business to help our local farmers. We were just testing our new equipment when we had our encounter. While setting up our new stand, we had an eerie feeling about something watching us. We were in a field and figured it was a bobcat that had been acting bold the past week, so we paid no mind to it. We continued to set up and go on about our business. It began getting dark, and so we got into our blind and began our normal routine, calling them in and knocking them down. About 3 hours went by without anything making noise the whole time. This is very unusual for the location we were at. In the field, there's about 500 yards to the woodlines all around us, and behind us, we hear a loud banging sound, like somebody hitting a tree. We immediately spin around to find out what the culprit was with our infrared light and saw nothing. A moment later, on the opposite side, we heard the same thing. We both have thermal rifle scopes, so we begin scanning. While scanning, I saw a large creature that had a large branch in its hand and was looking into my soul. My friend has encountered one once before riding horseback, and he told me of the sheer size of the creature. I thought he had exaggerated his story based on the fear he had experienced, which can warp the feel of reality. As I was panicked, I frantically fired 4 shots down towards the creature, and I'm guessing I missed all 4 as we found no blood and it had been freezing the whole week, so the ground was hard, and we didn't find any tracks either. My friend had spent all 28 years of his life in the woods and had a very difficult time trying to find the trail it used. I haven't been hunting since that day, as I fear for my life if I do go. Please keep my name out of this, boss. Please keep my name out of this. My boss is an ass about a lot of things, and he hates what he calls supernatural claims. Well, alright. Alright, what did we learn from this, man? Thanks for sending that email in. I appreciate that, alright? You did the right thing emailing it in and sharing it. Don't worry, I'm not going to share your name. Thermal scopes. I've used those thermal scopes quite extensively down in the south as well. We used them on hogs all night long. We've also used infrared scopes, and they are very crisp. If you want to email back, I would be very curious to hear from you exactly what that thing looked like in the thermal. All right, did you have it on the white? I'm guessing you probably had it on the setting that shows the heat signature being white. I'm guessing that seems to be the most effective for us anyway, depending on what dot you use. I mean, we had green or red dot or crosshair settings on the scopes too, right? But I'd be very, very interested for you to email me back and tell me a very detailed description of exactly what you saw in that scope, and that'd be very interesting. And as well, if you're using a thermal, how did you see that stick in its hand? Tell me how you know it had that stick in its hand. Obviously, maybe if the stick was in front of it, in front of its body part, that would have made it show up. That'd be interesting to hear that detail as well. And now, listen to me. As far as throwing lead at something substantial like that outclasses us so easily, and I totally understand your knee-jerk reaction. Totally get it, especially being 18, right? You're going to be limited on those. You are at your age. You're going to be limited on those high anxiety short package moments, right? And then dealing with it and knowing exactly how you should govern yourself. But if anybody else out there is listening, I strongly suggest that you do not go picking a fight with one of these beings unprovoked. All right? They're not governed by the same rules we are. Okay? If they decide to, they're going to ruin your ass. Okay? So you don't really need to give them any encouragement to do that. And it's probably going to be a tough thing. I can only imagine. You know, I look back at when I was 18 or 17, when I saw that thing perched up on that rock looking down on me. I don't know. I'm trying to picture what I would have done if I had a rifle in my hands and that thing stood up and showed its size. I probably would have thought it's about to jump on me for sure. And I'm looking back now at my mindset then, my reactions, knowing exactly what it feels like to have the encounter now. And I strongly believe I probably would have just started unloading the gun on it when I was 18. If that thing had stood up, showed me its true size, showed me it wasn't a human being, at the same time showed me that it was actually waiting for me, which is threatening, right? I would have unloaded on it. And who knows what would happen. I might not even be here right now talking to all you. But anyway, yeah. It was a shitty experience, man. It's shitty that it's ruined a lot of things for you. I know it's maybe my words have fallen deaf ears. It'd be tough to convince you, but you're going to want to try to get back in the game. Okay? Get back in the game if you have to. Even if you have to go back later, just say out loud. Just say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry I did what I did. I was scared. You scared the crap out of me." Possibly, I don't know. Just let them know that you don't want to kill them and you want to be left alone. Let them know that you want to be left alone. If the choice you make is to go back out and pursue your hunting passion, right? Which I strongly suggest you do. You're only 18. You're learning. That's a major, major, big-time experience in life that you just had that not many people have. And now you have to process it and learn from it, right? You got to accept the fact that you're still alive and that thing didn't follow you home either, right? Whereas those things have followed many people home and tormented them somewhat in various ways. But yeah, I think I'd strongly suggest to you is to don't do that again. All right, Don't go flinging lead at anything that isn't a threat to you directly. Don't go throwing lead at something that hasn't done anything to actually warrant you throwing lead at it. All right? Because at times, especially these days, right now, you just might start a lethal fight that you more than likely don't have a chance to win. Okay? So it's best to keep neutral. Try to have a little more acceptance and concentrate on living alongside these things. Because right now we don't have any choice. Okay? There's no choice in the debate. There's no debate. We have to learn how to figure out how to live alongside these things, keep each other educated and safe and doing the right thing and reacting the right way when different experiences come up. Anyway, thanks again for sending that email in, man. I'm glad that you're safe and you get to have more experiences in life yet. All right. Tell you what, this weather sucks. The wind's starting to howl in here. It's going sideways out there outside the barn. I think little man here. So I call him. Yeah. Oh there. What are you doing? You're chewing stuff back there. I think he wants to put my jacket on. Hey? Oh, that was a fat one. Little horsies. Alright, what do we got? You want to read one? Hmm? The Wind River Mountain Range. Hey Steve, hello again. I've gone back through your videos and understand that you're swamped with emails. I was just hoping to hear either of my accounts that I had. And you can use my name, okay? Last name is pronounced My Herb. My first two are my most significant because that's what opened up my eyes to this truth. My first was in the spring of 1993, south of Billings, Montana, at a location off the Yellowstone River, at these two ponds. I had arrived at around 8 a.m. I was sitting on the north central part of the larger pond for fishing. Now to back up, for 2 years that I was living there, friends would always say that something weird and scary was down there and not to go alone. Okay, at times I'd get the feeling of being watched and a bad vibe, but no big deal. Well, this time I felt confident. Big mistake. About 45 minutes into fishing, I heard a splash coming from the southeast part of the pond, which is to my left somewhat. I ignored it because I thought it was these dogs from this old nearby farmhouse. Not. I heard it again as I looked that way, getting chilling goosebumps as I typed this. There was this large bipedal creature standing up from the water. I was in complete disbelief and shock because you're taught that these things aren't real, but yet I'm staring at one, and at form about 75 yards away. It turned its head to its right and looked at me, eye to eye. I took a few steps, I got up, gathered my things, started walking backwards. It stopped again, looked at me. I knew that this was a Sasquatch, no doubt. It took a few more steps, looked my way one more time, and then walked off in the tree line. I knew that it could have reached me within seconds because of this footbridge, and I feared that it would have come barreling at me. I saw a pickup pulling up. I told this guy. He replied with, he sees them often. The next day, after all the teasing and naysay from family and friends, my brother and a friend who is 6'8", roughly, went with me to this pond. I told him where I saw it. Our friend had to stand on a stump, raised his hand next to the tree where the Sasquatch stood, and we measured it out to be 9 feet tall. It was auburn in color, long hair, a brownish face, flat nose, cone-shaped head, long arms, and about 4 feet at the shoulders. Not to mention the 20-inch footprints at about 4 feet apart. That day I just about pissed myself. My second encounter was on the Wind River mountain range close to where I grew up at Riverton, Wyoming. As a kid, my granddad was a World War II Army vet and would tell me and my brother about the hairy rivermen and never go to the river alone. There are areas that he even avoided to take us, from Riverton to Lander to Dubois. One of his rancher friends, a friend and her family that my mother knew, a now retired game warden, and countless others also spoke about these beings. My mother's friend and her family lived right next to the Little Wind River. Her two boys would take us just so close, but never to the river, and we could never stay outside when darkness approached. Well, fast forward to 1996, late June. My stepdad and I decided to go fishing on some public land close to the Riverton, where the Little and Big Winds meet. A few times prior to this, I would get that gut-sinking feeling, or leave. On this day, we went upstream a little, went down this embankment, turned around, and we saw this massive dugout that smelled like feces and dead deer. We also noticed long, black, matted hair among the broken-up branches, as if something big had laid on this makeshift bed, if you will. We got out of there, moved on. I'm now full alert because it reminded me of my first encounter. Then I reminded my stepdad of my Billings encounter, and he shrugged it off and said there's no such thing, that it was all in my head. That gut feeling only grew stronger. He started fishing when I noticed some very large human-like footprints in the mud. He shrugged those off too. I was looking and checking everything around us out. There it was, about 100, 120 yards away, tall, all black, swaying behind a cottonwood, watching us. I told my stepdad, pointing to it, needless to say, we had to walk about 200 yards downstream before we could back up from off the bank to level ground. Him and my mother lived about 200 yards from the river access road. A few days later, on July 4th, shooting some fireworks, I lit this one thing up and threw it, and it made a very loud bang. Not 2 seconds after that, myself, my parents, ex-girlfriend, and 2 friends all heard this very loud scream/yell coming from about 50 yards at the best from this small field. I've heard identical screams in the Sasquatch videos that people record. We all agreed at that moment what it was. Me and my ex stayed overnight to go fishing at a local lake the next day. During the night of 1 a.m., the small trailer court's dogs, 5 or 6 of them, started like nuts, barking at something, then dead silence. I got that feeling again. Nothing outside. I started to doze back off, and at around 3 a.m. I was awoken to that nasty smell and a very large black hand trying to get up under the window. It opened from the bottom to top, facing the outside. I woke up my ex. We had quietly slunked out of bed. Not knowing what to do, I got my fillet knife ready to start cutting. I slowly stood up, and there was face to face with this vile-looking creature staring at me, maybe 4 to 6 seconds, just staring. I froze. I couldn't move. It turned around and simply left. I became unfrozen and exhaled. I got my parents up, but it was gone, and so was that feeling. Well, the next morning I went up to the yard outside this bedroom window. I couldn't even reach the bottom of the window frame, and I'm 6 feet tall. I got a measuring tape and measured where its cone-shaped head was, and it was just a little over 8 feet tall. No footprints, no hairs, no signs that it was even there. The next spring I went to check out the river water level, and right on the edge of the parking area, in mud and snow, there were 5 large footprints around 19 inches each, over 4-foot strides. I never returned to that area. I've had other encounters, 2 separate ones, at Stockton Lake in Missouri, and another one in Wyoming, not far from the town of Buffalo. But those first 2 encounters, they changed me forever. I still go fishing, but never alone anywhere near the wilderness. I've seen black and grizzly, and even saw a great white off a pier in Monterey Bay, California. There is no comparison to that of Sasquatch. Please share these, Steve. Please share these, Steve. We must learn from each other. These beings are very smart, calculating, and they can tear us apart if desired. I appreciate your hard work and what you're doing, Steve. I'd like to meet up someday and regain my confidence in the wilderness, but I don't know because of these stupid jackass governments. Just keep at it, Steve. I appreciate you and thank you for your honesty. Be safe, be frosty, keep hunting. Wow. Alright, man, thanks for sending that in. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the kind words, the encouraging words, too. That's quite the handful. It's quite the handful of experiences. This storm's making the mare spooky. It is getting nasty up there. It's blowing absolutely sideways. Big rain and sleet. But anyway, you forgot to say what the, what was that? I forget who it was. Who's the man that kept on shrugging everything off until he saw it? Did he ever speak about it after, or did it absolutely scare the shit out of him? it's kind of comical anyway when some people have to be pro, isn't it? But anyway, I guess I should probably get out of here. This wind and rain starting to come sideways in the barn, and it's shitty out, and I got a lot of things to do. But anyway, man, I hope sharing this email helped you. I hope it helps many other people. And don't forget, every single one of you, you take from these what you will, and when you find any missing piece for your puzzle, you stick it in your puzzle and you keep digging. All right? And don't worry about what anybody else has going on. Don't worry about anybody else's puzzle, and don't think that other people have to look at your puzzle. All right? That's the key. Everybody let each other be, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure everything out together. All right? Be safe.